really enjoy summertime. It's not just the warmer weather and the change of pace in the schedule and things like that. I actually really enjoy having my kids home from school. I know a lot of parents at, kind of the midpoint of the summer are like, oh, I can't wait for school to start. Not me. I love having the kids home. Now, with that in mind, though, I will confess there's two things they say that drive me nuts. The first one is, I'm bored. Can't stand that. Like, it's my responsibility to entertain them. Like, they look at me like I'm a cruise ship director. There's going to be shuffleboard on the Lido deck at 2:30. I don't think so. I'm not in charge of your entertainment needs. In fact, a little boredom might be good for you. How about you rest a little bit, daydream a little bit, come up with something new. Just use your imagination. I like that, the different pace of summer, and so I'm okay with them being a little bored. The second thing, though, that they say that I just really can't stand is this one. They walk into the kitchen. You hear the refrigerator open. You hear the cabinets being rummaged through, and then it comes. There's nothing to eat. There's tons to eat. Our house is full of food. It's overflowing with food. I hate to admit it, but we throw away food that goes bad before we have time to eat it. We have an abundance of food and food options and choices. And yet that's kind of the nature of humanity, is we always think that whatever we have is not enough or not sufficient, or there's something better. In our relationship with God, as we acknowledge Him as provider, one of the cool things that happens is we enter into God's flow of provision. Now, when God created a people for Himself in the book of Exodus, when He delivered the Israelites out from Egyptian captivity, one of the things He did was He said, guys, I want you to understand and know me as your provider. And so He provided daily bread for them, manna from heaven, this bread that would come down in the morning, and they would collect and they would have their daily bread. And it would spoil at the end of the day. And they would depend on God for manna the next day. You see, God was their provider, and they were in the midst of His flow, daily bread. And that daily bread was miraculous, and it was good, and it was godly provision, and they were in the flow of it, but they complained. That's what children do. The children of Israel complain just like my kids complain. And so God gave them quail. And they were in His provision. They were in the flow of what He provided. And He provided them with quail. And whether it's bread or quail, to understand and know God as provider and to trust Him as such is a powerful thing. You see, I don't know where you're looking at your life and you're saying, there's not enough or it's not good enough. Maybe you're just not really acknowledging that God is the provider. And you're saying thank you for what you've provided, and you're being faithful with what He's entrusted you with. You see, as you experience life and you experience them in acknowledging God as the provider, then you enter into the source of His flow. And you go with His flow, and you find that His provision is more than enough, and that it's better than good enough. That it is great, and it is good, and it is right. And you'll find so much more joy as you give thanks, and you rejoice in that, and you share that, and God is pleased with that. And then when you're faithful with a little, He's going to give you even more. Get into God's flow, trust Him as provider, and enjoy your time with a great, great Father.